Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Mark. This is Man on a Mission Fishing. Thanks so much for joining me today. In today's video, we're going to go through some budget jig choices. These are jigs that I personally use. I'm going to go over a couple of different brands. The first brand, of course, is Boss Jigs. I buy these Boss Jigs generally through Tackle Warehouse. I have seen a few items at Cabela's or Bass Pro, but for the most part, I stick to Tackle Warehouse when I buy these jigs. These jigs are undressed. I generally like to make my own jigs. That way I can make the colors that I want and experiment with things as well. Plus the price stays way down. I think most of these jigs I can make for under $3 a piece, closer probably to $2.50 a piece, which is a pretty good cost savings compared to buying some normal brand name jigs, which can run anywhere from, $4 to $7. So let's go over a couple of items through Boss. I'm going to go through probably 5 or 6 different jig types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I'm going to go through 7 different jig styles that I personally use. And then at the end, I'll show you how I dress them up. It's very easy. Save you some money. First jig I'm going to go through is a swim jig. The Boss swim jigs come in 2 different styles. One is just a normal swim jig, and the other is this jig right here, the Big Boy swim jig. The Big Boy swim jig is a little bit sturdier, a little bit heavier hook. It's got the standard nice weed guard on it. These waggle real nice if you put a paddle tail swim bait on them. I've had a lot of good luck on these. You get a quality swim bait on these, they will not roll on you or turn on you. If you get one that's a little narrow, if you reel it too fast, they have a tendency to roll on the side. But if you get a nice bulky swim bait on these with a nice heavy duty tail on them, they'll stay nice and straight. Very good budget swim jig. They come in a 4-pack. They cost $7.49 for 4 of them, so under $2 a piece. That's both the normal swim jig and the Big Boy. The next jig is the standard Boss football head. This football head I generally use in the 1/2 ounce to 3/4. Most of the time it's 1/2 ounce. These have kind of a less stout hook on them. These you got to be a little bit careful. You can't really throw these on the big braid and hammer into them and horse fish in on them. These are more for a lighter application. They still work great. Put like a double tail trailer on there, Z-craw or adrenaline craw on there, and with a nice skirt on there. And these are very serviceable in like inside weed lines, next to hard spots, next to docks, on the outside weed line. I don't generally like to throw these right in the weeds because the hook is not that stout, and I'm afraid I'm going to hook it on a weed and bend it out. The next one is a jig I just started using this past year. This is a little bit heavier duty football head. This is called the Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is a little bit different. It's got more of a cone shape on the front. Comes through the weeds a little bit cleaner. It's got a little bit of a stouter hook. Weed guard's about the same. Another very good football head. I love fishing football heads. This one I'll throw right up in the weeds, right on the rocks. A little bit sturdier than that that normal Boss football head. Now the Boss football head with the lighter hook is only $6.49 for 4 of them. This Wrecking Ball is $7.49 for 4 of them. I'm going to go a little bit smaller now. This is a little bit smaller jig. This one is I generally use in like the 3/8 to the 1/2 ounce. This is called the Woodwalker. This is just a little bit smaller jig. It's got kind of a concave head on it. I haven't thrown these in wood. I'm not even sure why they call them Woodwalkers. I'm assuming because they'll float over wood, and when they roll on their side, they won't snag. Got a vertical, horizontal line tie on them. Like I said, I use these a little bit lighter weight. Throw these on inside weed lines. I'll throw these right in the weeds. This hook is a little bit This hook is a little bit more sturdy and a little bit shorter than the football head jig. The next jig's even smaller. This is more of a, it's not a true finesse jig, but it's pretty small. 5/16 to 7/16 is what I throw these. This is called the pipsqueak. It's a small jig. It's basically the same jig as the woodwalker, except the head isn't concave. It's got a nice stout hook on it. This is a little bit easier to pull through weeds and stuff. I'll throw this on docks. Has a nice slow fall on it. This is a good little weed jig. Both of those, the pipsqueak and the woodwalker, $7.49 for 4 jig heads. Going up in size a little bit here. This is a little bit heavier duty jig. This is the Gary Klein flippin' jig, original flippin' jig. This is basically just your standard flippin' jig. Has a horizontal tie. Nice weed guard, a little bit stiffer weed guard. Real nice, heavier duty hook on it. It's got the standard keeper on it. All these have that standard keeper on them. This is a good jig. This one I'll throw right in the crap. This thing, it comes through decent. Generally, I like the vertical line ties because they come through the weeds a little bit better. But I found that these horizontal ones come through just fine as well. I like the vertical tie mainly for the swim jigs, I guess. And then the last one that I have an example of is called the Brent Earler flipping and pitching jig. Now this jig is a little bit lighter weight again. This jig has got a long hook shank on it. Little bit lighter wire, similar to that original football head jig. This is a little bit more of a sparse weed jig. This is like a dock jig. This is outside weed line type jig. I don't really want to throw this in the heavy duty stuff because the hook is not as stout. It's got a little bit longer hook. You can put a little bit bigger of a chunk on here so you can slow the fall down a little bit, make a little bit bigger profile with a small slower fall. It's a good bait, especially in the fall. I like to put a big, like a brush hog or a big craw on the end of this sucker and then pitch that thing along the weed line. There's one other jig that I didn't have an example of that I'm all out. I should have bought some. I didn't realize it was out until I was pulling these together for this video. It's the Gary Klein heavy cover jig. That's a heavier duty jig. It's got a more narrow profile on it. Another quality jig from Boss. All of these jigs that I've shown that were dressed were hand dressed by me. It's very simple. After I get done with this next brand that I'm going to go through, I'll have a little tutorial on how to do it. It's really simple. Doesn't take much. The other jig company that has a good budget jig can generally get these for under $4 a piece, $3 something a piece. If you get them on sale, you can get them even better. It's the D&L tackle. They come in a package like this. This is a Tackle Warehouse buy for sure. This is called the Baby Advantage. This jig is only 3/16, so this is a true finesse jig. You can throw this on spinning gear. You can throw this on real lighter line. I like to throw that on docks as well, or inside weed lines is where this works the best. Now get a closer look at the normal Advantage jig. The normal Advantage jig looks like this. It's got a head that's fairly similar to like Rick's favorite, the jungle jig, except the line tie is horizontal, not vertical. And Rick is a stickler for vertical. He loves to pull them through the weeds. He swims his over the weeds and through the weeds. He likes that vertical because it doesn't snag as much. But if you look at this one, you can see that the head of the jig comes right up to the eyelet, so the weeds can't really snag on there. They usually come off of this. So this is a good weed jig as well. It's got a pretty stout hook, and it's got the standard keeper on it. Very reasonably priced jig, very good jig. They come dressed at, you can buy them in many, many different colors. This just is the standard black and blue. Really good jig. I highly recommend these. All these jigs, of course, are lead. I do buy some tungsten jigs at times, but I virtually won't buy those at normal price because I just can't see paying $9, $10, $11 for a jig, especially when you lose so many. If I was fishing down south, I'd probably have a lot more tungsten than I have in my tackle box right now. That's basically the jigs that I use. Those are my budget choices. I gave you quite a few different styles of jigs and different applications for the jigs. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have on these jigs. Let's go on to showing how a person dresses these jigs out. It's very simple. So first off, you need to have quality components, and I usually buy most of my components through Tackle Warehouse or directly through like fishingskirts.com. I think fishingskirts.com has Skirts Unlimited stuff. I think as does Tackle Warehouse. Tackle Warehouse also carries all-terrain tackle making skirt material, which I've also used. I'll show you that in a minute here. The first thing that I usually use is a band like this. Now, you don't necessarily need these bands. You can tie the skirting material directly to the jig head with like a piece of wire, which is a little bit harder to do. I don't have a vise, so I don't generally do that. I use these bands. Plus, I like to make a bunch of skirts ahead of time, keep them in a small Plano box in the boat, so that if I have a jig tied on and the skirt gets tore up, I can easily slip that bad boy off and slap on a new one. It just makes it a lot easier than having to retie, or it's just easier to make them with these bands. Second thing you need to purchase is a skirting tool. The skirting tool basically looks like this. Basically just is a plastic hollow tube and a end like this, a metal end like this, that you basically take the bands, slip them on, you put them on here like this, and you push them down, and it goes onto the plastic tube like that. And that's how you slide those on and off your skirting material. The tool also comes with a hook like this. It's just a metal rod with a hook on the end, and you hook your skirting material on here, and then you can pull it. You push it through here like this. It comes out the end. You can hook your skirting material on here and then pull it right through, and then slip the band onto the skirt. That's it. That's basically it. I'll show you how I do that. I'll make one here. So it's all-terrain skirting material. This is white. I'm going to make a white swim jig. I'm going to use this heavy-duty swim jig that I've got here. You can basically take apart this skirting material. I'm going to use, I think these are 22 strands per skirt. So I like to keep my skirting material strands in that 50 to 60 range, especially if I'm using this tool. If you get much bigger than that, you can have trouble pulling it through the tool, because it gets so wide that it ends up tearing. So if you want a little bit heavier jig volume in your jig, probably can't use this tool. You probably have to tie them manually. What I'm going to do here, I've got the white, and then I've got some of this color here. This is more of a, what does it say here? Clear black flake green glimmer. I'm going to add just a little bit of that. Actually, I am going to use the full amount of this. What I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to take this one of these white ones here, and I'm going to cut it basically in half with a scissors. You just cut it in half like this. So now I just have half of this one. I've got a full white one and a half a white one. And I've got a full one of this green glimmer, clear green glimmer. And then what I'm going to do, those are both all-terrain, and then I've also got this skirting material here. This is the Skirts Unlimited. This is in a chartreuse. So the chartreuse, I'm going to cut just a little bit for a little accent on that jig. A little bit of an accent on that jig, just a few strands. Not quite going to go a full half, maybe a third. I'm eyeballing it, I'm not counting them. You can count them if you want to get real technical about it, but I just kind of wing it. So now I've got about a third of the chartreuse that's going to go with this white. So now when you put them on this this tool here, you want to put them on. You can put them on in an order that you want them to. You put them on in the order that you want, how you want them on the skirt, if that makes sense. How you want them on the body of the skirt to look. So like I'm going to put this darker, this glimmer. I'm going to put that on the very top. I'm going to put that on the top of the jig. So I put it on here like this, kind of in the middle, right in the middle here. Right? And then I'm going to put the white again, like this. Now I'm going to take the chartreuse and I'm going to put it in the middle. If I was making a sexy shad, I could put a little blue in there as well. But I'm going to just go with the three tones and then extra white on the bottom. And you can see it just sits like this. And then you just pull it together, hold it like this. Pull this down. It'll slide right in here like this. You pull it down about halfway, like that. And then you just roll this band off, snaps on, pull this back out like that. Pull this out like that. Now you've got your skirt done. And I generally leave the ends tight. Leave the ends on. Generally you have to cut these off to make the skirt voluminous, you know. And then I generally leave one end just a little bit longer than the other. And then you take your jig and remember how you wanted it. You wanted the green glimmer on the top. You just take this and you put this in here like that. And now the skirt sits like this. Leave it a little bit longer on the top because then when it bends over, you know, it gives more volume. And then you push this in and you snap this on like that. There it is. And there's your jig. Now to finish this, what I do is I take wire. Now generally I've been using, you can use like copper wire or galvanized steel. It won't rust that fast, the galvanized. So generally, you know, you take a piece of the wire, so and you can make a little U shape like this right here. I don't know if that shows. And that's another reason why I leave the ends tied on, because you'll take this and you'll put it right over the jig like that. Put your finger on it to hold it in place. And then you just you put the two ends together and you just twist them like this. And then it's, I don't know if you can see that. And then what I do is I have a small forceps or a pliers, little forceps like this. You come up here, you grab that wire, and then you just twist it tight. But you don't want to go too tight. I like to go just tight enough so that it doesn't, so that it can't pull off. Because I don't like the skirts pulling off the hook all the time. And then you'll end up having a long end like this. You just take a wire snips and you snip those off, snip that off and then bend it over. Once you have that clipped off here, then you can just grab the end of the skirts, keep them adjusted like so, and you take a scissors and you just cut them off on each side. And then you end up with a jig that looks like this right here. Got plenty of room, and then you can trim this any way you want when you want to fish it. Cut it right off at the bottom of the hook. This one I could have probably put another half of at least a half of if not a full tab of skirting material on there. Would have made it a little bit thicker looking. It went through the tool very easily with what I put in there, so I probably could have made it a little bit bigger. But that's a nice swim jig then. There we sit. I wanted to mention the price on the skirting material as well. Skirting material is Skirts Unlimited Tackle Warehouse. These come $2.99 per pack. Each pack has 10 tabs. If you want to make a jig that's between 50 and 60 strands per jig, you can get 3 to 4 jigs out of each package. So you can get them for under $1 a jig. You can get 3 to 4 out of here. It's a pretty good price. The all-terrain tackle, a lot of times they'll go on sale. But if you don't buy them on sale, they're like $5.99 to $6.99 per package, and each package I think has 20. I think they have 20 per pack. So a little bit more expensive than the Skirts Unlimited ones, but you get more per package, and they're both really good quality. I like both of these a lot. They have some living rubber ones as well on Tackle Warehouse. I haven't made any living rubber jigs. I haven't bought any of those. Those are a little bit more expensive. If you're looking for living rubber, you can do that as well. So that's going to do it for today's video. A little bit budget conscious jigs, a little bit of jig making. If you would like me to make a more in-depth jig making video, slow down a little bit, show you each step a little bit more closely, let me know. I can certainly do that coming up here in the future. But until then, I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks more for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And for Rick, my name is Mark. This is Man on a Mission Fishing. I'll see you around.